Okay, we're going to have a series of clips now on character design and looking at um, what happens with Flash and how we use Flash when we're designing characters. So this is still just drawing. I'm not using graphics in this. It's more of a drawing lesson with animation, yet we're not going to really animate at this stage. We're just going to develop our character. We're going to look at the different types of lines, brushes, pencils, pens that we can use. We're going to look at the character design. Then we're going to design a goodie and a baddie. So we're going to try and create some sort of story. And what goes on in an animator's head when they're trying to develop a character. For example, the eyes will be different between a goodie and a baddie. The nose will be different, the head shape. We'll look at the props, what they're wearing, and this is all up to you. This is your expression, and it's quite important. It's just so important in life to be able to draw and doodle and think out loud and make mistakes, and because nobody's really paying attention to what you're doing here, except maybe your teacher. But this is your world, where you can really get involved in making your character. So I've started out a basic character, and so this is what I'd like you to do: is just start with a drawing. Now, you can do this on a piece of paper, you can do it in Photoshop, you can do it in Illustrator. I'm doing it on Flash only because it creates vectors, but you can, the space isn't really important at this stage. So I use a pencil tool when I'm just starting to draw, and if I go into properties, I can see my fill and stroke. So my fill and stroke, I've turned off fill, and I'm just using the pencil tool for stroke. So that's the outline. The object drawing's off. What that will do is that joins the two of those so that it becomes one. Normally, if you're drawing, they're two different objects. The stroke is different from the fill, and we've covered that. You can change the size of your stroke. I want mine on really small. The style of the line, we've covered that already, but you can do different colors. You can also import new types of brushes, and there's a fantastic set of brushes by this professional animator and illustrator called Kylet, Kylet website. Now I've put that on the outline so that you can go to his website and look at the different brushes. He's got fantastic brushes for animators, for roughing it out, watercolor painting, impasto, everything. So it's quite a good range, and it's very, very cheap. If not, it might even be free, I'm not sure. Okay, and the other thing is we're going to keep it on smooth. If you go down to your tools panel, you'll see here's your object tool, so we've turned that off. But you've got other choices here of doing ink, smooth, or straighten. I would suggest just do smooth. Okay, so when we're drawing, that's going to be my first character. So we're going to do a goodie and a baddie scenario and develop that as our activity or a practical. And you could just start with one, just get kids started with how to draw. And the fundamentals of drawing really are, get your oval head, a bit of a neck, but everything is sort of in geometric blocks. So it's got shoulders, it's got arms, it's got hands, and there's certain proportions which we'll go over later as well that you're looking for. But with characters, we're pulling things out of proportion anyway, but we're going to start with something in proportion. So this is going to be my my goodie, and at this point it doesn't have to be a female or a male, but I've kind of might be a female proportion. And here's the baddie. or it can be good and evil. It could be the hero and the villain, but I'm going to have a baddie and a goodie. Okay, so when we're drawing, you try and get your head oval, and we don't have to put a lot of character into it at this stage. We just need to get the proportions correct. I'm also including some handouts on drawing in this module. So we've got our shoulders, our arms are going to be on our hips, so we've got to make sure we've got an elbow happening. So it's really not important that everything's exact at this stage because we do a lot of erasing. It's just to get the proportions. We've got an elbow happening there. Okay, I've always found it really difficult to put hands on hips because all the fingers go in weird spaces, so we won't worry about that yet either. And we've got our hips. Now she's just going to be doing one of those hero poses, so her legs might be a bit short here, so later on we might lengthen her out. So she's doing one of those superhero Wonder Woman poses. Okay, so we also want to mark out where we think the eyes are going to go. Okay, so I've got a goodie and a baddie. Now, you could start to list. Here's the baddie. Do some brainstorming. Okay, what is it about this baddie? You know, in her appearances, or I'm gonna say this is a bad. It's going to be a female. So this baddie. So if we go over to our text tool, we could just write it in. Okay. So this baddie, she's her you know thing in life is to destroy the hero, which is the goodie. Destroy the hero. So you could start thinking of, well, you don't even have to think that at the moment, but what is she going to look like? Why, you know, she could be like Snow White, and here's the evil queen. That's, you know, but we want a different scenario because we want to create our own. So what's her hair going to look like? I think I'm going to give her really spiky hair. But again, go to comic books, go to websites, DVDs. What do these evil people look like? Don't worry about color at this stage. What's her mouth going to look like? You know, go to some of our lip sync animations and see what some evil ones look like. You know, do they have frowns on their face? Are they really, you know, is their nose a hooked nose? Their eyes, are they like cats? You know, they say like pointy chins and slanty eyes are a sign of evil. Okay, is she going to have, so we haven't gone to props yet, but the other thing, I'm sort of skipping ahead, is for each of these layers, what I want you to do is create its own layer. So here's our basic lines layer. So I'm going to rub that out because I'm skipping ahead. Okay, I'm even skipping ahead here. So the next thing, the next layer I'd like you to design or label is the character design. So that's where I'd like you to list the aspects. What's the nose going to look like? What's the chin? So nose is pointy. Pointy chin. Maybe horrible teeth. Yeah, her teeth are missing. Okay, and then do the same thing for this character over here. So when you do your character description, put it on a different layer. Again, when you start your eyes, put it on a different layer. Nose, clothing, props. Then we're going to get into poses. Where we'll start again with looking at side and back and front poses, but also catching something, catching a weapon, or picking up flowers or picking flowers. So we'll do different poses of our characters later. And so if you can maybe get started, start putting them on different layers, and see. And I'll start working on mine, and we'll see where we're at shortly.